How you doing?
Hi, Taren. This is Taren Cruz, everybody.
Hi, everyone. How you doing?
Taren, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience? And we're gonna go over some things too, but then we want to ask you some questions. But just go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience.
I'm Trent Cruz. I'm a co-chair of the Green Party of Minnesota and co-chair of the National Black Caucus.
Okay, awesome. And
we get in two different screens, Oz. There's a there was a different screen over there. That's
it's good. This is fine. Okay, so that's all right. We brought you on because we were really kind of, I've voted Green several times in my life, and they were one of the parties that to vote for in the last recent years. Recently, the Green Party came up with an entire pro-mandate
the steering committee
manifest. The steering committee of the Green Party. I mean, essentially the Green Party itself. They tweeted, and this is slide 40, Oz, the statement from the Green Party, the U.S. steering committee, supporting the use of vaccine mandates, and quarantines as part of a comprehensive public health effort to curb and eradicate the novel coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic, slide 41. So they also said they had a comprehensive public health policy focused on prevention, and that includes not only vaccines, but free access to personal protective equipment, PPE, including face masks, infrastructure upgrades to treat and filter air, quarantines. They started talking about that. They advocate for monthly relief checks, which is good, eviction and utility shut-off moratoriums, emergency Medicare for all, rent and mortgage forgiveness. All these things are good. But of course, they kind of wanted to put in these mandates and encouraging, the vaccine itself and encouraging the conversations around vaccines rather than the disinformation that was outside of it. And they said scientific data and experiments may be difficult to properly interpret and put into context without formal training. Therefore, we support the efforts of the medical community working with the public to help dispel mistrust and misunderstanding of vaccine science and other public health efforts. So they're supporting the current narrative that is, put by the CDC. Now, we're on YouTube, so, according to the CDC, the vaccines are safe and effective. Even though the CDC has also stated that even though the vaccines, according to them, reduce the transmission and spread of COVID, they also do not stop it. And overall, they have admitted that it wanes over time. So now I want to ask you, because you guys put out a statement as well. The U.S. Green Party Black Caucus said vaccine mandates passports are among the most vile, unconstitutional, slide 42, immoral, unscientific, discriminatory, and outside criminal policies ever enforced upon the population, and goes against everything the Green Party stands for under social justice. So, question to you. Why are you guys opposing mandates?
So first I want to give credit to James Lane and Felina Farley, who crafted this statement. James Lane is a delegate to the National Committee, and Felina Farley is actually our media co-chair. So even us being able to get this message out has been a discussion within the Green Party. But the reason why we had to put this statement out is because, for one, this statement, the Green Party of the United States does not support vaccine mandates. And there hasn't been a conversation with the National Committee, which is the highest authority in the Green Party, to endorse a statement. The spokespeople are supposed to speak for the party and its values and its interests. And we didn't have a conversation about vaccine mandates or this statement whatsoever. So, and this is no diss against the Green Party or the steering committee. It's just that we just think it's very important for people to know that the Green Party of the United States and the National Black Caucus does not support vaccine mandates, and we support people's civil rights, definitely.
Right. And go ahead, Pastor.
Well, okay, let's start off real quick, because that was a nice way of putting it, really, to tell you the truth. Because when I read your guys' statement from the Black Caucus, I was like, thank God, because this is more in line with a lot of values and people have right now. What the steering committee was saying is something that might make people want to run for the hills. What is the role of the steering party, and why were they able to come out with this kind of comment without addressing everybody below in all the different caucuses around the nation, like yourselves, like the Black Caucus? So what's their role, you know?
The steering committee is manages the day-to-day operations of the Green Party. So it's more like an administrative body. I've been on the steering committee last year, but we're more the steering. I'm not anymore, but the steering committee really just handles the day-to-day body of the work of the Green Party and stuff like that. They are spokespeople, but though they can speak for the party if they're speaking on our policy and in our platform, there's nothing that advocates for vaccine mandates.
So why did they just come out and say this? I mean, this is like there's an executive who's working and his secretary went behind his or her back and made a statement and put it out there, because there was a lot of Greens I know, a lot of Greens I spoke with, you know what I'm saying, that were like, wait a second, this is not right. Why would they do something like this? And is there somebody who's pulling strings? Is this one faction of the Green Party? Is this the Howie Hawkins faction and not the Ajamu Baraka faction? Can you give us a little insight to that?
Well, I don't think so. There's definitely some factionism going on right now, and there's definitely some infighting and robust debate happening around this statement, which is why it should have happened before the statement was released. So, there's people, I don't want to say which faction it's actually from or point fingers at people, but I would just say that there's a lot of people, as you've probably seen on Twitter and Facebook, a lot of Greens who are disappointed with this. And we want those Greens to know that you can come talk to the Black Caucus. If you stop donating recently, you can donate to the Black Caucus. You can donate to the Green Party of Minnesota, and just get back involved with your state party too, especially those state parties who are not supporting a vaccine mandate. So I don't think we should totally just give up on the Green Party, but we definitely need to fight for it and make sure that the steering committee is getting feedback from its members in the national committee before they just speak for us on an issue this important and this divisive to our party.
Mm-hmm.
Right. How did the Black Caucus come to this stance? I mean, was this this voted on? Was this an overwhelming sort of stance from the majority of the members of the Black Caucus, or how was the sentiment in coming to, putting out the statement that you guys put out?
Well, for over the last few months, we've some of the Black Caucus, we have been studying a book called Medical Apartheid. When COVID started, we have already been having this conversation and this discourse, and then we let people know that this release was coming out in the Black Caucus. Executive committee approved it. We had a Black Caucus meeting over the weekend. It was discussed, and the Black Caucuses, in our membership is pretty much, I would say, 99% in agreement with this letter. And because of the history of Black people in the United States, in the medical industry, it's a no-brainer for us. It's not that we just don't trust vaccines. We have a relationship, whether it's the Tuskegee experiment, whether it's Marion Sims experimenting on women during slavery. Actually, without slavery, we don't think there would even be a medical industry in America today. So the Black community has a very, very distrust of the medical industry, and then just us as Greens, we don't want to, we say people over profits. Well, Pfizer just in the fourth quarter made $13 billion in the quarter of 2021. And we know, I'm pretty sure it has a lot to do with these vaccines that they're getting, I believe, federal funding for too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I just had a follow up to
Go
that.
ahead.
So you mentioned, the Tuskegee experiment and the history that causes distrust obviously in these agencies for the Black community. one of the friends we had on recently was a member of the ACLU and left because of the ACLU stance on the vaccine mandates. In New York, in particular, there was a lot of support from Black Lives Matter activists saying that these mandates were actually attacking Black people and poor people, because a lot of these people, for several reasons, among them economic, but a lot of the times hesitancy more than anything, were the ones that didn't have these sort of passports. Why, in your opinion, is in your opinion, this also an economic attack on people of color and the working class?
Well, let me speak of it locally. I'm not, well, in the United States, definitely, if you're going to say you can't go to work unless you get vaccinated, and you feel like you don't need to get vaccinated, or you don't want to get vaccinated, or you've already been vaccinated, then they're telling you you need to get another vaccination, then you need to get a booster shot. It's like, oh my goodness, what is going on here? And these are experimental drugs. I kind of don't, I'm not saying me, I'm just saying what the average Black worker is thinking. Right. You know, I really don't want to take this, but if I don't take it, then I'm going to lose my job. If I lose my job, then I'm not going to be able to pay my rent. I'm living paycheck to paycheck anyway, you know. But then if I take the vaccine, what if I get sick? What if I die? You know, who's going to take care of my kids? So we definitely,
opinion of what people are thinking, right?
Right. And we just know the economics that with the median income for Black people in America, we don't have, we can't miss a lot of work like that and think that we're going to, so that by that it's racist like that, because if you know a large percent of Black Americans don't want to get vaccinated because they mistrust the government and those vaccinating them, then you are basically putting an economic sanction on them. Then you're saying that they can't go to the restaurant, then they can't. So like basically like segregation, you know, whites only, or in the, so even if you look at it like South Africa, I think 1.3% of Africans are vaccinated. And they want something called a patent waiver, where they can produce their own vaccine and distribute it to their people and things like that. So it's very racially, there's some very serious racial undertones to this whole vaccination mandate situation.
Yeah.
And let me add to that a little bit, Tace. Let me add to that a little bit, Trey. Just to kind of put a shell on it. Black people are more or less more easy to be in contact with COVID due to how we're racially populated, due to how we're economically populated, and how we're demographically basically separated into different neighborhoods, while the dominant society has suburbs. And it has outer regions where, for example, when you talk about coming in contact with COVID on a significant level, well, Black people are populated with each other. You know, most white people live in suburbs. So just demographically, when you look at it from that perspective, of course, Black people will be coming in contact with these viruses, not only at a faster rate, but with more people.
So I just to follow up, just period though, Black people have a big mistrust of the pharmaceutical industry and the medical industry here in the United States, and do not feel comfortable taking the vaccine. And so for me, it's not as far as whether you should take the vaccine or not. It's just, it shouldn't be something that's mandated. And if it's mandated, then it's violating people's civil rights. And the Green Party should not advocate for something that is violating people's civil rights. And Biden just tried to put this mandate out at the same time that the Green Party was, not the Green Party, the steering committee was releasing this statement. And I think Biden's mandate was just voted down a couple days ago.
Getting smacked down, and it the hesitancy. I mean, if you just look at Johnson's and Johnson's, what they did in Africa, giving people mesothelioma, mostly people of color, you know what I'm saying, and then got away with it. Why would anybody ever trust these companies? So I understand the hesitancy, especially when it comes to people of color. You know, the testing, what we talked about, whatnot. But let's talk about this for a second, because when I read the Black Caucus's release of what was going on, it was really like a saving grace for me. I'm like, this is the way I feel. This is how it should be. It's very different than the steering committee. The only problem is people can't separate the fact that it was the steering committee and not the Green Party as a whole who made this statement being pro-mandate. How are you guys going to have some accountability in this party, and how are you guys going to fix this? Because right now they're looking at the Green Party and going, you know what? No way. I'm not part of this anymore. That's that. Even though it was the steering committee, how do you guys fix this and make sure there's some accountability and you get some representation as a whole? Because it seems like the Green Party is digressing instead of moving forward.
And definitely we're going to work hard. We have to work hard to get the Green Party back on track. So there's some people within the Black Caucus that are like that are calling for recall elections right now, you know, and they, you know, that may be a little extreme, but I think we definitely, if the, you know, I think that the steering committee should hear what its members are saying, but there's also, I definitely know that there needs to be the statement needs to be recanted, and that going forward that they need to start speaking for, doing a better job of speaking for the whole party, running things by the national committee, especially when it's that divisive, so that we can vote on these type of statements and have robust conversations right now, because a lot of people in the Green Party and our members are really upset by the statement that was released by the steering committee of the Green Party of the United States.
Yeah, just based on what I've seen too, just adding to what Pasta said, is like I've seen a lot of people be like, well, the Green Party, you know, I used to vote for them, but now nobody but Republicans is opposing this mandate, so I'm going to go vote Republican. And that's one of the things that scares me is because there is a segment of the left that is pushing a lot of authoritarianism, a lot of, you know, fascistic tendencies, and it's not coming just from the right. It's coming from some of the left with these mandates, and that's pushing a lot of people into the arms of the party that seemingly isn't pushing that, even though we know that at the end of the day, you know, we live in an oligarchy, right? It's an illusion of choice, of a duopoly. It's not even a real duopoly.
Right.
So the issue I have is, what is the left, like the anti-mandate left? Because there's very few vocal leftists on this issue of mandates. And any time as a leftist, if you advocate against mandates, you're labeled as, you know, red, brown, or trying to flirt with the right, or it's become this sort of like stigma, I think, that a lot of people don't want to have, which is why it's so important to hear from people like you guys, because honestly, like a lot, if you know, if somebody like Pasta goes and says, yeah, I'm anti-mandate, oh, here's some white guy, right-winger, Nazi, blah, blah, blah. So it's just my question is, what is the left going to do to like be more vocal about these stances? Because it seems like we just aren't.
And so I think it kind of goes back to what you just said about Pasta. And I don't want to say this is happening in the Green Party, but we got to make sure that it doesn't, like if someone speaks out, then they become attacked, and it's like a mob. Like, so and so within political parties or within like a national committee, there should be, people should be able to have these type of discussions without being being demonized within your own party because you have a different opinion than others. And sometimes your opinion can be based on scientific facts, and then you still get demonized and things like that. So a little bit after the January 6th riots, I think the interest in third parties were at an all-time high in America. But if we're doing the same thing that the Democrat Party is doing, then people are not going to gravitate to the Green Party, they're going to go to the Libertarians. They're going to go to the Republicans. So we really have to be about what our platform is about. And a big part of our platform is grassroots democracy or participatory democracy, which means that everybody has a say in what's happening. And so definitely the National Committee going forward is going to have a say in what's happening in the Green Party of the United States, especially when it's releasing policy statements like that should be coming from caucuses in the National Committee.
Absolutely. And you guys have a lot of work to do because, you know, I can't picture another election with Howie Hawkins being at the top of the ticket. I don't think he's representative of most Greens. I mean, how do we get back to the good old Green tickets that we really could have like embraced years ago? The Cynthia McKinneys, the Margaret Kimberleys, the Ajamu Barakas. How do we get this back in play to make this Green Party more valuable? Because right now, I think that unfortunately, and no disrespect to Howie, but he's more of a harm than he is a helpfulness when it comes to the Green Party.
And I love Howie, and I think he has a lot of knowledge and great experience in things. But I think
he's not embraced by the people, though. The people aren't embracing him. He's 0-26, and we just got to look at it for what it is, that he's not going to be the one to move people towards the Greens.
And so that's why we have to bring in this 2022 up into 2024. We have to bring in more dynamic candidates, younger candidates, people who aren't. And just, I think the culture of the Green Party too, we have to work on the culture that we're not just here to get 5% or 1%. We're here to win. We're here to pass policies. We're here to change lives. We're here to change America. And we can actually do it when we organize and put and be smart about our elections. So I definitely look forward to having a robust, making sure I think, especially in the Black Caucus, that's why the Black Caucus is going to be so pivotal in 2022 and making sure that the Green Party is competitive and also in 2024, so that even if we can bring some dynamic presidential candidates and Senate candidates to the forefront.
Yeah.
Well, any other questions?
No, I just want to say that letter that you guys wrote, really, to tell you the truth, that's what it's all about. Reading that letter made me want to get back more into the Green Party than anything before. So I think what you're doing over there, Tareen, is just a great job. And I wish you nothing but luck for the future to hopefully straighten and get the path right for the Green Party back on track. Because, you know, it was like the one party outside of the two-party duopoly. We would always say, like, this one represents our values more. They just seem very dysfunctional, what's going on. So I hope things straighten out over there. That's just my only last statement, fam. So,
well, thank you so much for coming on. Did you guys want to say anything else in closing?
Just again, go to the Black Caucus. You can donate to us, be a part of our meetings and broadcasts that we'll be having coming up. We're actually going to be having a conversation about this issue, and also join the Green Party of Minnesota, mngreen.org.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for coming on, and we wish you the best of luck in everything you're doing. Thank you for speaking out, and I'll pass along this for other guests too, for our other hosts that have shows, because it's important to hear from your voice. So we appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you guys, and thank you guys for having us. This was great.
Thank you, Mr. Cruz.
All right, peace.
Peace.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.